Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Wednesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security Systems Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We got a good show lineup today. We're going to have JC at 8:30. We're going to be joined here in just a minute by a Senior Associate Athletic Director at the University of Florida, Steve McClain. He's going to give us the rundown and explain to all us dummies about the name, image, and likeness. If you missed it last night, Mississippi State, I have my Stark Vegas shirt on. In honor of my daughter who graduated from there. They win 13-2 over Vanderbilt. You got the deciding game tonight for the national championship in college baseball. Atlanta Hawks without Trae Young. Giannis goes down. So in the meantime, I think that series is tied 2-2. And then the Suns try to wrap it up tonight against the LA Clippers. They lead that series 3-2. And I think the Lightning play again tonight. But we're going to be joined by Steve McClain here in just a second. I'm going to see if my man Evan can log in, and I don't know what's going on with Facebook these days. They're a pain in the butt. It doesn't work normal. But we're going to wait for Steve McClain. If you got any questions about this name, image, and likeness, shoot them to us here on Facebook Live, or you can text us on the Titan MRI hotline. And I think we have Steve now on the Titan MRI hotline. Are you there, Steve?
There we go.
There he is, the Senior Associate Athletic Director for the Florida Gators. I appreciate you taking the time, Steve. I know your life has been crazy as heck recently with this name, image, and likeness, which goes into effect tomorrow. It's such a gray area right now, Steve. If you don't mind kind of giving us maybe name, image, and likeness for dummies, like a short version, Cliff Notes of what's going to happen starting tomorrow.
Sure. The biggest thing, Shane, is, we've been having some educational seminars here with our student athletes and our internal staff. And the first thing I tell them is, what we're talking about right now is about the state law. The state of Florida passed a statute that allows intercollegiate student athletes in the state of Florida to earn compensation for their name, image, and likeness. And, some of our athletes are, tweeted out this weekend, thanks to the NCAA, we're allowed to do this. And so the first thing I want to do in the education process is have them understand what we're communicating to them is the Florida state law. And, and so there's no real, people then asked us, like, what's going to be our policy relative to the Florida state law? And really what we're trying to do, Shane, is do nothing more than explain the state law to our constituents, whether it be our student athletes, whether it be our staff, whether it be our sponsors, whether it be the parents of student athletes, the media, and the public. Because we didn't go in some kind of silo and decide here's what Florida's going to do. What we wanted to do is explain in layman's terms what the state law says. Okay, so what the state law does say is that again, our athletes have the ability to earn compensation for name, image, and likeness, and then with a couple caveats. One, that no one affiliated with the institution, staff member, coaching staff member, can arrange such compensation. Leading up to this, I've had a number of, people call me in the community, people that I've known for a long time and say, how can I do this and how can I help? What athletes should we talk to about sponsorships? My answer is I can't help you. The state law says we cannot be a part of that. So that was a pretty big tenet to the education piece. And then, there's a couple of layers of that, and more specifically, probably for the student athlete, Shane, than for the public, but it's good for everybody to understand, is, there's a heavy education component that's come with name, image, and likeness about building your brand and financial literacy. And we've been doing that for years here at the University of Florida in different capacities. I mean, when you played here, the Office of Student Life had, skills training to help you prepare for life after football, right? It might have been pro agent sports panel. It might have been how to build your resume, how to prepare for a job interview. I think you handled that pretty well with your job interview with the NFL team, so I think you did a good job with that. But anyway, so for years, our education through our life skills program in the Office of Student Life, which is now the Hawkins Center at Ferry Hall, has evolved. And a big part of that the last couple of years, even before name, image, likeness, was getting athletes to understand the value of their brand and how they could grow that brand and have an opportunity to earn money off of that. And a couple of years ago, the case would be after school. And so now there's an opportunity to do that while they're in school. And something you didn't have to worry about until you played in the NFL, that is an area that most of our student athletes ever had to worry about, was paying taxes. Right. And so when we met with several of the teams, that's one of the things we talk about, is having them understand. And we're going to have very thorough education programs about that. But at 30,000 feet, when you tell them when you earn X amount of dollars, that a certain percentage of that goes to the federal government, that's a really foreign topic to them.
Yeah. Steve, let me ask you this. So, for example, you said some local community businesses have contacted you. You can't help them. So let's say I'm a current player at Florida, and Restaurant X, they contact me, or do I have to have an agent? And then I want to say, legally, if whatever restaurant contacts me, I have to take the paperwork, go fill it out with the university for it to be approved. Is that the right chain there?
Generally speaking, yes, but there's a couple key components. The law says that the student athletes have to disclose their terms of their contract with the university. Okay. What it is not, though, Shane, it is not an approval process. We're not approving that. The law says that the student athletes have to, provide the terms of those contracts and give it to us, but it's not an approval process. There's a couple things that we are clarifying in that process that you talked about. Is starting July 1st, is something new for college athletes, is they're also allowed to have an agent. They're also allowed to have a lawyer that represents them. And that would only be in the space of name, image, and likeness. It would not be for future marketing deals. It would not be for future contract negotiations at the professional level. It would not be for anything else. But the law says, starting July 1st, that they can have a lawyer or an agent to help represent them in this space. They don't have to have one, but they can. And there's two caveats in the law about those two things. One, the agent must be registered in the state of Florida. And B, the lawyer must be in good standing with the Florida bar. Okay, so that's that part. So when the athlete fills out this form and says, I'm going to go to the car dealer and get autographs, they say, do I have an agent? They don't have to. But if you do, yes. Is that person in good standing? Yes. Okay. How much money are they making? Boom. Okay. Then we also educate them on a couple things. The use of our marks, which I think you're a real smart guy, Shane. You know what that means. There's a logo behind you right now. That's a mark. The University of Florida is a mark. Anything that has a gator head on it is a mark. The F, all the things that are associated with our brand. Gator Sports Property /ING owns the rights to all those marks, and they negotiate them for all of our sponsorships and relationships. So our athletes don't have the right to use those marks without permission from Gator Sports Property. So
I don't have y'all's permission. I need to probably take that down. I just took it off the wallpaper.
So, yeah, I don't believe I would have told that, right, Shane?
Yeah, it was a bad day for me to put that up back there.
There you go. I'm just trying to, channel my inner Mississippi there with that comeback, Shane. Sorry. So yeah. I would say, so then there's a couple other components that we educate the athletes on as it relates to that appearance. So say athlete X wants to go to the local car dealer and sign autographs, okay, and earn money off that. He or she cannot wear any marks associated with the University of Florida unless they secure those marks. right? They've got to fill out this form that explains how much you're getting paid and everything else. And that form doesn't even have to be done in advance, Shane. It's within 4 days of the execution. And as I said before, it's not an approval process. There's also a thing that says no one is associated with the University of Florida helps set that up. Okay. And then we separately, not on that form, we talk to them about making sure they understand taxes, right? If some of our student athletes are on need-based financial aid, right? That's separate from their scholarship. And that need-based financial aid is based on how much money their family income is. So if they have a single mom that's raising 5 kids and make $40,000 a year, I'm just throwing these figures out arbitrarily, they might be eligible for some governmental, aid. That will change when they start making money. And then the other key component, Shane, and I know I'm being pretty lengthy with my answers here, is if they're international students and they've been granted a student visa to come study at the University of Florida and be an athlete here, we have informed them that earning money might affect their terms of their student visa because they're being viewed as employees now and not students. So we would direct them to people on campus at the International Student Center. And the same thing with the Pell Grants and all the need-based financial aid, we direct them to folks at the university and the financial aid office. I don't know what that number would be to affect everyone's individual aid. But like I said, it's a really long answer, Shane, but that's what the process looks like when an athlete wants to do something like that.
Steve, we got a couple of Facebook Lives here brought to you by Melton Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Sandy says a lot of changes. Does the school pay for the lawyer? I'm pretty sure that lawyer is going to get a percentage of whatever the deal that he cuts for that athlete. She also wants to know, is there a cap on how much they can make?
So it's up to each student athlete to secure their own representation and arrange whatever financial terms that representation looks like. Again, one of the caveats of the law that I mentioned, Shane, is that the school cannot be a part of arranging that, the compensation. So I think having a relationship with that third party, whether it be a lawyer or an agent, would probably be in violation of the state law. Okay, so that answers that question. So, and again, they don't have to have representation. They don't have to have representation. Their parents can handle it. They have a family member that handles it, whatever they want. But if they do, they have to work out those terms with that individual. The second part, and this is almost one of the first bullet points in our presentation, and it causes all kinds of questions. The law says the compensation has to be fair market value. That's what the law says. Okay. So what does that mean? There's a fair market value, Shane, for a quarterback in the NFL, right? There's a fair market value for what we pay a head coach. There really isn't a fair market right now for what a student athlete could earn signing autographs. So my answer to that would be the fair market would be whatever the market bears right now. And so that may change over time, but coming out of the gate on July 1, there's not really a market. So it's hard to say what that is.
Steve, being a booster myself, the UAA, y'all sent out an email to all the boosters. And can you clarify where it said something, if you are a booster, you are not allowed to make any kind of deals with the players. Okay. How's that possible? If I own a business and I want player X to promote my business or come to my restaurant or whatever, and I am a Gator booster, I'm not allowed to do that?
Actually, so Shane, that was, we send that document out, and then we had another page and a half of FAQs that we shared internally with all of our internal audiences. And the first question in that FAQ, you're right. We put in there that a booster could not be part of that arrangement. And our first question in the FAQ, it did cause some confusion. We did say a booster-owned company or a company that a booster is employed by, they could arrange it. They could be a part of it. So say, for example, Shane, obviously you're high profile, but there could be an architectural firm in Tampa. And we have a booster who's a mid-management accountant in that architectural firm. That architectural firm can certainly have a relationship with one of our student athletes as it relates to name, image, and likeness. What we don't want is that direct contact as a representative from the University of Florida, right? So there's companies that are owned by boosters that can certainly do it. and there's employees that are boosters that work for companies that could also do it. We just didn't want there to be some direct, implication that this was a representation from the University of Florida. That's probably about as clear as mud for you, but the short answer is yes, you could do it. Is again with the caveat that no one from the University of Florida set that up.
Let me ask you this, because I know the coaches publicly are all for this. I just have a hard time believing behind closed doors they're excited about this. Because do you have to have like everything set before your season starts? So let's just say some wide receiver catches 10 balls, 3 touchdowns against Alabama. Now this car dealer wants him to come sign autographs. Now, when are they going to be able to sign those autographs? Is it going to affect when he's supposed to be in meetings or in class or at practice? I just think that's going to be a freaking headache for these coaches.
Yeah, well, one of the things that's in our educational thing that we sent out was that the expectation is it won't conflict with team activities, right? So if there's a practice, there's a meeting, maybe even we're having a press conference every Monday. We have a press conference. Shane, you were part of it. The starting quarterback comes and does a press conference with the media. I don't think we'd be in a situation where our starting quarterback would come and say, "I can't make it today. I've got to go down to the car dealer to sign autographs." Right. So can't really, to answer your question, it can't really conflict with any team activities. That's the expectation.
On Facebook Live here, brought to you by Melon Law, Jeff asks, what is to keep the businesses from paying significantly more than market value, simply legalizing what used to be the illegal payments to players?
Yeah, right now, I think that determination would be by the state government, right? This is a state law that we're following. So we've been asked that question a little bit, Shane, and I tried to address it from the fair market value standpoint. But there's a lot of questions about how's the school going to manage this and how's the NCAA going to handle it. But really, the state, effectively put this law, and how they decide to enforce it kind of maybe remains to be seen a little bit.
So, player X, let's just use the University of Florida. We're a Nike school, Jordan brand, all that stuff. What if one of the star players or the quarterback or whatever gets approached by Adidas or Under Armour to wear their cleats? That's basically what happens in the National Football League. You cut your own deals for footwear. Will they be allowed to wear a different brand at a school that is, quote, a Nike school?
So the answer is both yes and no, Shane. So they would be able to strike a deal with Adidas. They would not be able to wear any of that Adidas gear in their facilities or in competition or in practice, right? So that, because there is a component of the state law that says none of the student athletes' contracts can be in conflict with team or athletic department contracts, right?
Gotcha.
So, but some schools may interpret that as we don't want them wearing Adidas anywhere, but our favorite player in this conversation is Athlete X, right? So Athlete X could sign a deal with Adidas and sign autographs at the local car dealer in his Adidas gear or her Adidas gear. But they could not have any Florida marks without permission from Gators Sports Properties, and they can't wear it in our practices or our facilities or any competition.
That's interesting. So when you say the Florida marks, for people that don't know what that means the Gator head logo, I call it the leaning F. I don't know what the correct term is. Things of that nature.
Slant F.
The slanted F. Okay. So do you think the university will give any deals to any athletes? Now, maybe not in year one, but do you think that could happen? Let's go back to Tim Tebow, obviously. I mean, Tim was bigger than life when it comes to football or Werfel or somebody like that. Do you think the university would ever, or can they make deals with those players?
Yeah, again, the current law says that we can.
Okay. That makes it pretty simple then. So, yeah. Steve, having all these meetings with all these student athletes so far, I've seen on Twitter, some of them have their own logos. They have their own clothing lines coming out. What do you think about all that? Do you think they're really going to have opportunity to make good money doing that, or is it just going to kind of be a fun thing that they think could possibly lead to something else?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think in the 35 to 40 minutes I spent talking to the football team, there was a lot of engaging conversation and fun and back and forth about a lot of the same things we're talking about now. I think there's a difference between getting a free sandwich at the local restaurant or getting your gas tank filled or getting a free month rent, right? Versus some really long-term financial gain. And, you have the luxury of experience and age that it's a lot of work to have the long-term financial gain. And that is the one thing, that it's really hard to get your head around when you have this opportunity all of a sudden to earn money and what it really takes to go do that and all the things that come with it. Like I started this conversation off by talking about taxes and then what comes with that. And so I think there'll be an initial kind of like quote unquote money grab by a lot of people, and people are going to get really caught up in the news cycle and the public part of it, and even the players about look what I got today. But, it's all, and it's, it's awesome that they have that opportunity. I mean, you were a student athlete. I think it's not well documented, but I was a student athlete as well. And I would have loved that opportunity I'm not sure I would have made a whole lot of money off my name, like you certainly would have, but it would have taken a lot of planning and a lot of work. And as a student athlete, how much time you already committed to studying, watching film, working out, your social life, all those things. There's not a whole lot of time for that, but I think there's an opportunity there for the people who are real intentional and strategic about it to earn some money, but it will take some time. But there'll be a mad rush of these stories that pop up starting tomorrow of look what somebody did. And it'll be, I compare it a little bit to like the NFT stuff that came out. Everyone was like, look at this huge opportunity. I made $30,000 on this, game-winning shot from Gonzaga or whatever. But like, I think there's a longer term play in that as well. But that's a whole nother Zoom call, Shane. But I don't know if that answers your question. I think it's a little bit of both.
Last thing for you, Steve. I've been saying this, and I could be 100% wrong about this name, image, and likeness. My biggest concern, being a former athlete, is the locker room. I know in the people was like, well, in the NFL, quarterback makes this amount, left tackle makes this amount. I was like, but it's slotted. When you go to that level, what you're going to make. My concern is, let's use Florida for example. They got a ton of running backs, all very good players, and we all know Dan likes to give them different touches. What if running back A has 200 yards and 3 touchdowns against Alabama? But running back B and C didn't get the touches they wanted, and running back A now has X amount of dollars thrown at him. Is it going to cause problems in a locker room?
I think you're exactly right, Shane, and we've talked about that internally as well. I think our coaches recognize that as well. But I would actually take it a step further. So you're going to have the star player that didn't get as much touches as somebody else, as you explained, or the wide receiver that didn't catch, any balls. And as you know, Shane, every wide receiver is open on every play.
You're damn right. They're always open.
But I'll give you a better example. Your person that might earn the most money might not be even a star player, okay? Because their social media feed or their personality and such. We had a walk-on football player named Clifford Taylor last year. Okay, that was very engaging on social media, and he had great content. And I think he would have had the opportunity to earn some, money off his social media feed. He wouldn't go sign autographs at the local card dealer, but I think he's now currently he got hired by the Rams in the NFL to do some of their social media. So, I mean, he was a guy that was, one of the last guys introduced on senior day, and everyone's like, okay, I checked my program, number 45. Who's this guy? Right. But on social media, he was really good. He had a distinct personality. He had really good content. And in that space, the sponsors, I think, could have gravitated towards him to be a social media influencer. So I think that's also going to compound the locker room situation, that you're not even your star player might be the person that's earning the most money through social media influence and not through autographs at the local card dealer.
All right. So one last thing popped in my head here. I don't have a business, but I do have a podcast. if I wanted to pay, I don't care if it's a volleyball girl to be on my podcast during volleyball season, can I do that even though I'm a booster?
So the answer to most of our questions that get asked hypothetically are yes, if the following conditions are met. One, you didn't call our office to set it up.
Right.
Okay? No one here set it up. Number two, when the volleyball student athlete came on your show, they couldn't wear the marks and logos. Right.
And
number three,
by the way, I took down the mark.
I saw that.
Yeah.
The meter was running the first 15 minutes, though. I did see that, Shane. So we'll send you the bill. And the third part would be they've got to fill out this form and submit it back to the athletic department within 4 days of the exercise.
So anytime an athlete does anything, they have to turn in paperwork to y'all.
Correct. Within 4 days. But again, It's not an approval process. It's just they're obligated to tell us. So could you have a volleyball player on your show for $200 or get a free watch? Like back in the old days when you were a radio show guest, right, Shane? They give you a free watch or something like that. I don't know if you're but yeah, you could do that if no one here set it up, right? And they weren't wearing any marks and they filled out the paperwork.
Good stuff. Did I miss anything? Anything you want to add? I know it's had to have been I don't want to say a nightmare for you guys, but good gracious, you've been in this business for a long time and it is changing rapidly.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Shane, was the unknowns, right? Like everybody's been talking about this for a while, and we really tried to thread the needle on the educational component. What we didn't want to do is a month ago say, here's what it means, right? And then the federal legislation dropped or the NCAA dropped. So we had to wait till we're pretty sure that here's going to be the rules effective July 1. Because sometimes the worst thing you can do, and I have kids that you have kids too, you tell them like, you can't, this is what you're allowed to do. And the next week you tell them, you're not allowed to do that anymore. They're going to remember what you said a week ago, right? So we want to make, it's a real tight window of the education piece. And some people say, well, why didn't you do this earlier? Well, a month ago, we weren't sure what all the answers are. And we still don't know some of them. And it will change maybe next week. Change. I think it'll just be a continual process. So, the challenge in college athletics is it's been relatively black and white. There's a set of rules by the NCAA and everybody's following the same rules. And now there's some general laws that don't even tell you what fair market value is, and you're trying to figure it out. That's where the challenge is.
Yeah. Good stuff, Steve. Appreciate it. I know you're extremely busy, but you cleared up a lot of stuff. And as you said, it's going to be changing probably weekly and daily or what have you. But get some rest, my man. I know it's been tough, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Take care, Shane. Great being with you guys, and have a great rest of the week in July 4th.
Yep, you too, Steve. That's Steve McClain, Senior Associate Athletic Director over at the UAA. Join us, giving us a rundown of the name, image, and likeness, which kicks off tomorrow. We're going to take our first time out of the program. Come back. We'll be joined by JC, and we'll talk a little sports, College World Series, NBA playoffs, and we'll take any of your comments or questions as well. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Avra and Smith, Dowling Signs, Chomp Carter Apparel, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
We're looking for all type of restaurant people, managers, servers, bartenders, hosts, cooks, dishwashers, bussers. If you think you're good in the restaurant business, then give us a call.
Spurrier's Gridiron Grill job fair is open now. All you have to do is go to spurriersdraft.com and fill out an application.
We're looking for the good team members, and we're looking for people with a wonderful attitude that can make Spurrier's Gridiron Grill the best we can possibly be. To apply, go to spurriersdraft.com.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Regal Cinemas, Dave & Buster's, Nike, Le Macaron French Pastries, Kilwins, and coming summer of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Visors Tailgate and Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Really want to thank Steve McClain, Senior Associate Athletic Director, for talking name, image, and likeness with us, giving us all the rundown of what they know, and it kicks off tomorrow. And I'm sure our next guest will be paying a lot of Alabama players for name, image, and likeness. Good morning, JC. How are you?
Yeah, QB. Yeah, baby. It's a financial war going on now. We're gonna see who's got the money. I don't know. It's terrible. I don't know what's gonna happen to this whole thing. But right now, I'm not really worried about that as much as you. It would seem. I'm more worried about.
I ain't worried about it.
Well, you talk about it a lot, but it's okay.
Well, people want to know about it.
It's true. No, look, I get it. Tonight, though, we have the winner-take-all, loser leave town. Well, they're both leaving town, but the winner-take-all match in Omaha, Nebraska. The match. It's like a soccer game. It's a game between Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. And really, when you look at this series, my man, it is very clear to me that Vanderbilt is a two-horse trick. They have two pitchers that will be likely drafted in the top 3 or 5 of the Major League Baseball draft, and that's it. And the thing about Vanderbilt is if you look at these two games, they've gotten a combined total of 9 hits, and one of them last night was in the 9th inning, irrelevant. So you could think that they've averaged 4.5 hits, 4 hits a game in this series. And Mississippi State has to get pitching. They're going to have their best 2 tonight, Bednar and Logan Sims, who will likely be their 2 guys against Kumar Rocker for Vanderbilt. And if you can get through Rocker somehow, or just keep it close until they take him out, you can get to that Vandy bullpen and win the national championship. So it's going to be tough to watch stuff.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. I mean, you and I look like we just walked out of the bookstore in Starkville.
Well, and then they got the state. They got the state. You see state there. State. They have this logo is for baseball. This is just something they came up with.
No, that's their baseball. That's a baseball
I know.
logo.
It says that too. And then of course we got the Hawks with Lou Williams sitting in for Trey Young last night and blowing out Milwaukee, who's got big problems now with Giannis being hurt with that knee injury. And then we got these guys rolling in tonight on their way to a back-to-back Stanley Cup championship title, as they will trounce Montreal in 4 to 5 games. The matchup's a nightmare for Montreal, and Tampa Bay will not take them lightly. They will not lay off, and their defenders will continue to score, and their forwards will match up, and their goaltending will be great, and they will win another championship for the city of Tampa.
Will that be the third? Have they already won 2 Stanley Cups?
They've won 2 cups. They won in '94. They won last year. They're going to win it again this year, and it's a wonderful thing. 2 hours down the road, you've got a championship team. The city is going bananas with the football team obviously being picked to win the NFC this year. They're going to be one of the contenders. And the Rays are, battling in the American League for another pennant. It's just great to see. It really is. If they get a stadium for that baseball team in downtown Tampa or anywhere near where people actually live, as opposed to that ghetto of St. Petersburg, they are going to have a much better. Have all
the St. Pete people calling.
Well, St. Pete is where that stadium is. Listen, nobody wants to go there, including the people from St. Pete. They don't want to go there. I mean, they show it. The Royals show up, or the White Sox show up on a Tuesday night, and they get 6,000 people in that place. And I know you got to have a roof. Look, in Arlington, Texas, they stuck a retractable roof for a team that sucks. I mean, the Rangers are horrible. And here is Arlington, Texas, which is not a really nice area. It's okay, but it's not great. And they've got this retractable roof stadium. Look, they'll put something in Tampa for the Rays. They have to, I think.
Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. June's your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane and receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. So, JC, back to Omaha, Nebraska, the College World Series.
Let's go back there.
Put your hats on. First of all, did you know Vanderbilt has had the top recruiting class in college baseball for the last 5 years?
Well,
it's a phenomenal program.
He is a great coach.
I honestly believe those two are the top two programs in America right now. The fan base, and again, I know we're preaching maroon and white on this show for their baseball program, but if you watched any of that game last night, there must have been 90% of the people there were Bulldogs.
It was a home game. I mean, you have, I would say there is at least 20,000 fans, and that just counts the people in the stadium. There are folks outside in the parking lot that just made the trip to be a part of history, or what they hope will be history, for the school's first national championship in any sport. And even though it's 800 miles, look, it's summertime. You're in Mississippi. Hey, boss, I'm going to use some of my hours and I'm leaving town for 3 days, And listen, the baseball team has given them a reason to do something like this. 800 miles, QB. That would be like you getting in that Tahoe today and driving from here to almost Dallas, Texas. That's how far
it's basically driving to Mississippi and back is what it is.
It's a lot. Yeah, Mississippi on the coast. Yeah. I mean, it's like going to Biloxi and back in one trip. That ain't
bad. That ain't bad.
I mean, listen, not for something like this. I agree. It's a big deal. And this baseball is so popular there. The stadium they play in is the best in baseball. The fan base is clearly number one right now. And the SEC is going to win another championship. I think they've won 7 out of the last 13 championships in the College World Series, something like that. So it's incredible. And another stat I saw was that 4 out of the last 5 champions of the College World Series lost the first game, including Vanderbilt, Oregon State, and a few others that lost the first game, came back and won the next 2. Now, listen, tonight, this Rocker kid, he is probably the best pitcher in college baseball, along with that guy Leiter. But he has been beatable this year. This is going to be a tough game for Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, because Bednar has been really good in this series, and Sims is the best closer in baseball. So, it's committee night, but hopefully Mississippi State will be able to get through with those 2 guys and get enough runs to win their first championship. I think everybody's rooting for them. I would think anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a couple of Facebook Lives brought to you by Melon Law. I don't know where Gene's been. He's been under a rock or something, because he goes, does Shane know who the other 2 Power 5 teams that have never won a national championship in any sport? That trivia question was out like 2 weeks ago.
Well, he's a busy
and the answer is Kansas State and Virginia Tech. Everybody knows that. Jeff says, how about them Hawks? They won by 20 without Trae Young. But JC, I'm sure you were watching the game. Did you even know that Trae Young wasn't playing?
Oh, yes, I did. And I did watch, because I've been following the Hawks. I've been the only Hawks guy on your podcast. I've been the only Hawks guy other than Shaquille O'Neal to start rooting for the team from Atlanta. And listen, I mean, you lose Trae Young, so you got to have other guys step up. Lou Williams stepped up, and so did that Bogdanovich guy. And
do you know anything about Lou Williams? He's been the sixth man. He's won the 6th man award in the NBA for the last 7 years.
Really good player. And when I heard Shaq last night talking to that Bogdanovich guy from Serbia, I think is where he's from, he asked the question that I've rolled out of the chair laughing so hard, was because people whose last names end in Vich, V-I-C-H, are really great shooters. So he wanted to know, what routine do they go through? People with the last name of Vich become such great shooters that American people, as he called them, don't know how to do. What's the routine? And Bogdanovich said, well, Shaq, I remember when you were having trouble shooting free throws, and then they start calling you O'Nealovich, and you make free throws. And I couldn't quit laughing. I mean, I fell out of the chair. O'Nealovich shot better than 50% from the free throw line when he was O'Nealovich. And so there might be something to it. But those guys stepped up for Atlanta. Now Milwaukee's in a bad shape. Bad shape if Giannis is out. Because without him, that team looks absolutely disinterested. And I think Atlanta wins this series.
Knee injury, right?
Yeah. The knee injury went down in the first half last night. And Milwaukee just looked like a team that had its air. Everything just came out of them. No energy. Their other players just kind of laid down, and Atlanta just rolled. And Atlanta can win on the road. We've seen Atlanta win on the road. Where they play doesn't matter with these guys. And Trae Young probably might be back for that 6th game or 5th game. So it's going to go 6. We know that. And meanwhile, the Clippers over in the West, with Paul George stepping up, have forced a game 6 in that series with Phoenix back in Los Angeles. This could easily be 2 7-game series, or at least 6. Well, it has to go 6 now. So the Clippers are not out of it with the Suns, and the Hawks certainly, and the Bucks. Boy, Milwaukee better get Giannis back there. It's doom. They are doomed.
Yeah, the best entertainment on TV is the
TNT
TNT halftime show. There's no question.
God,
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Speaking with JC on the Titan More Hotline. Got a couple Facebook Lives here, JC. You may be aware of this. I am not. Asa asked, brought to you on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law. What is the status of the investigation of racial slurs against the Vandy team? Was it Mississippi State fans or locals? Did you hear anything about that?
That I missed that story.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Mississippi State fans.
Listen, all I can say is that place is maroon and white. There are 20,000 fans inside. There's probably 20,000 fans outside the stadium. It is a home game for Mississippi State, but they are facing probably the best pitcher in baseball tonight. And he's got 4 days rest. He's young. It doesn't matter. He's going to be effective. It's going to be a low-scoring game. And all you can hope for is Bednar stays with them, and they don't make any errors, and they don't give any extra outs, and Bednar and Sims keep them close. Because hitting-wise, offensively, Mississippi State is a better team than Vanderbilt. And there are many teams in that College World Series Final 8 that are better than Vanderbilt. In fact, I'd say most of them are better than Vanderbilt with the bats. Vanderbilt lives off the 2 best pitchers in baseball. That is all they have. Offensively, they are not a threat. They've got 9 hits in 2 games in this series. Mississippi State had 13 hits last night, out-hit them in the first game. They're just not good offensively. Vandy is not a threat. It's their pitching. Did you see?
I saw. Baseball usually see something you never see ever again. But the way that one inning started, I think it was a 1-1 game when it was a routine hard hit ball to the shortstop.
Yeah. Error.
He backhanded it. It wasn't an error. They gave him a hit. It stuck in his glove, and he didn't know where it was. I've never seen that.
Got caught in his netting, in his webbing, rather, in the webbing of his glove, and he's got kind of a strange looking web, if you ask me. But the ball got stuck, and so that opened up the floodgates. And Christian Williams was his name. The Vandy pitcher was not bad. He wasn't, but then he lost his composure. And listen, these umpires with these strike zones, that's another thing I've got to really wonder about is how inconsistent, or I should say how different they are from night to night. And it's some of these pitchers don't know what a strike. Hitters certainly don't know sometimes what a strike is, but either way, it goes both ways, certainly. And tonight is going to be a low-scoring game, I'm pretty sure. And so I just hope they win their first. I really hope they win.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. It's just
my son does.
They got
Your daughter does.
They got great personality, and
we got 2 kids that graduated on the same day from that school, and that program they have put so much into it. It needs to have a championship. It's one of the hottest things going in baseball. Well, in college sports, really, when you think about it.
If you got joint pain in your knees, shoulders, hip, or back that won't go away, you need to check out QC Kinetics for long-lasting relief. No surgery, drugs, or downtime. Schedule a free consultation at QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. Call them today. That's QC Kinetics, 352-400-4550. All right, JC. I forgot today is Wednesday. We got to do our Peachland Dentistry, JC and the QB golf picks. They're up in Michigan at the Rocket Mortgage Challenge. I don't know who picked first last week, but
well, go ahead. You can this time. I think I picked first last week because I had John Rahm the week before. So feel free to lead us off here.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Ricky Fowler because Ricky Fowler. Doesn't he do commercials for Rocket Mortgage?
He does. So
they probably said, Ricky, you better play your ass off this week.
I like the Masters champion this week. I think he's going to play very well. He did not play last week, so he's rested. He's ready to go. Give me Hideki Matsuyama.
Okay. Let's see. I will.
You know who the defending champion of this tournament is, right? You do know that.
Your favorite golfer. Well, you can have him. I'm going to take Matthew Wolff.
Oh, gee. You never take that guy.
I love his game.
You do love this game, and it is good. Okay. So now let me ask you, QB, is this a WGC event, or is this just another tournament in Detroit? Do you know that?
I just think it's a tournament in Detroit. I don't really know.
All right. Okay. That's fine. Well, with that, having said that, I was going to take, well, sure. I think I'll go with, I got to pick somebody different. I don't want to take the same guys like you do every week. I want to take somebody different. I want to
I don't take the same guys.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with a player that really doesn't get much attention, but once in a while when he's on the leaderboard, you say, well, this guy could do it. Give me Gary Woodland. He did win the U.S. Open.
I was getting ready to take him.
Yeah, he's been quiet lately. I think he's capable of taking this thing. Let's go with Gary Woodland.
Okay, so I'm going to go with my South Korean golfer, and I'm not sure which one is which. I think they're paired together. Who is this? This is Sun J.M., and he's paired with Siwoo Kim. So let's see. I'm going to take
Kim or M. Kim or M.
Well, I kind of like Max Homa this week too.
Okay.
I'm going Max Homa instead of putting him on the bench.
Max Homa is very capable. He's won a tournament.
He's one of the funniest dudes on. He is so funny. You need to follow him on Twitter.
I do. I think I will. I'm either looking at Cameron Champ, DeChambeau, or I'm looking at Kokrak or Reed. And I think I'm going to go with Patrick Reed. He hasn't won yet. Well, his short game is so good.
But Ben On is playing in this tournament too.
I can't believe you didn't go with him. So you got Fowler, Wolf, and Homa, and I've got Matsuyama, Reed, and Woodland. There you have it.
I should have taken On, M, and Kim.
Well, you got who you want. It's a good lineup. It should be a good tournament. Detroit, baby. See how it goes.
All right, so JC, give us a rundown tonight. How many TVs you got working?
Well, we got 3. We're gonna have 3 going. I'll have the game on, the hockey game. I'll have the state game on, the big one. I'll have the hockey game on one of them, and if I'm awake, I'll put the Suns and the Clips on the third TV. We'll probably have 2 TVs on the baseball game. So I think. This is one of the biggest nights in that school's history, athletically speaking, and certainly they've got the team to win it, but they are going to have to beat the best. And so they will see him tonight, and hopefully they'll keep Vanderbilt off the base paths. That Vanderbilt, again, they're not a good offensive team. They're not bad, but they're not really great. And if you give them extra outs, though, they'll take advantage. And if they get a lead with that pitcher, it's trouble.
John says, I'd ask y'all to pick the baseball game tonight, but I see the shirts. Yeah, well we both had kids graduate from there, John.
On the same day, no less.
So, JC, I want to go over this day in sports brought to you by Comfort Temp. Comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Comfort Temp is now hiring team members with all levels of experience, great culture and benefits, and opportunity for growth. A $1,000 signing bonus for qualified positions. Give Comfort Temp a call, 352-376-2366. I was not aware of this. Tell me if you were aware of this. In 1988, in this day in sports, Chicago agrees to build a new stadium so the White Sox don't move to Florida.
I didn't know they were threatening to move to Florida, but I do know Comiskey Park was moved to from the far south side to a new Comiskey Park, which is just a mini version of the old Yankee Stadium. It's kind of a U. With bleachers and the outfield.
So I wonder where they were thinking about moving to Florida. I wasn't aware.
Didn't know that one. Didn't know that one at all. But probably somewhere like Orlando or wherever. But we've got 2 teams in Florida. One of them is a contender every year. The other one just kind of goes through the motions, but has won 2 World Series championships. So, but you never hear about the Miami Marlins anymore. They got a beautiful dome, roofed up stadium there, and Tampa should do the same for the Rays. We'll see if they can. I hope to do. But let me tell you, QB, real quick before we go. We've had, I was able to watch my Alabamas win all these championships. We've had the Florida Gators win all these championships in baseball and basketball and tennis and football. So I have a son going to school there. We've got to have Mississippi State win tonight. They've got to win. I'm going to think about this all day. So we'll see.
It's a big day in the state of Mississippi and Starkville, and I'm pulling for the.
I even think the Ole Miss Rebel fans are rooting for State. I really do. I think they are. I don't think they have any love for Vanderbilt. I just think the state of Mississippi as a whole can really rally around a national champion. They don't have many. In fact, I don't think they have any. Do they?
Who?
I mean, Ole Miss has never won the SEC. Has not won the SEC. Has not played in the SEC championship game since we've had it. Mississippi State's only played right. I mean, what?
But Ole Miss has national titles back under the Johnny Vault days of football.
Okay. Well, that was so long ago. I mean, but I think the state would really benefit. Everybody in the state would be happy. But
Jason, let me ask you this: Why haven't we heard any cowbells in Omaha?
I guess they just said you can't bring them in.
They say that during football games, and they still bring them in.
Davis Wade Stadium's a little different, even though listen. I just think they're trying to control it somewhat because it can get very distracting.
I don't think I told you this.
Control it. They control it. The football games, QB. They do, because when the ball is at the line of scrimmage and they line up and they're about to snap the ball, those cowbells stop. That's.
I meant to bring this up the other day on Twitter. I saw some. I think it may have been some Mississippi State baseball fan or student or somehow it popped up on my Twitter feed, and he says, "You can Venmo me, and I will take out the Vandy Whistler with my cowbell."
I didn't hear that. By the way, where was the Vandy Whistler last night?
He was whistling.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He was whistling, really?
John says the College World Series did not allow the cowbells into the stadium.
Yeah, I'm sure that was it. But I didn't hear the Whistler last night.
But I know plenty of Mississippi State people that can sneak those cowbells in their boots.
Oh, man. That place is Duty Noble North. It is, and that place is all marooned up. I mean, it won't matter if Rocker throws a no-hitter tonight. It just won't.
Yeah. All right, JC, we got to go. We're running out of time.
All right, guys, we'll see you Friday.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. That's JC. We're going to take our second time out. We'll come back. We'll wrap up this Wednesday edition.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, non-surgical regeneration, live pain-free. South State Bank, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Wrap Spot, Okito America, Gators Dockside, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Silverback Concrete Company. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Center State Bank's now South State Bank, but they still put business first. Understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State still has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking forward, member FDIC. Really want to thank Steve McClain, Senior Associate Athletic Director, for giving us some insight on the name, image, and likeness, which cranks up tomorrow, folks. It's getting ready to be the Wild Wild West. Also, I want to thank JC for joining us on the Titan MRI Hotline. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there. We'll see you tomorrow.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble. Can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!
Bye.